Hey guys, welcome back to L.O.V.Empowerment. I want to thank all of you for consistently listening, for following us, and welcome to all of our new followers and listeners. I am Kiviana.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Patrice. And shout out to all of our Instagram followers. Our Instagram has really been popping. So if you guys have any questions, any discussions that you would like to hear us talk about, feel free to DM us.
So let's jump into our topic for today. We're going to talk about, can your independence carry conflict into your marriage or your relationship? So I'm sure everybody heard or saw the Fantasia interview on The Breakfast Club, and she was talking about how like women can't be the queen of their households, and that you have to be the neck to your man's head, basically. So let me hear you guys' opinion. What do you think? And we want both standpoints. So thinking about could this work in a relationship with a man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, or what do you guys think about the man and the man? So all standpoints. What do you guys think?
Well, for me, I think I agree with Fantasia. I agree with her 100%. And I think one of the big points that she made was that you submit to a husband who is walking by faith. So I think that's really the big thing. Like, so many of us, and I know for myself, like when I was young, was submitting to men that was like giving me money, buying me gifts, and not really having that faith component. So it didn't work out. So I do agree with her, depending on the man.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. It really does depend on the man, because I'm kind of the opposite of keeping on. I'm like, no, I ain't about to listen to no man. But then I think too, like she also mentioned that it's generational. So like if you grew up with a single parent, like I grew up with a single mother who I just saw my mom doing everything. So when it came to me, when it was time for me to get married and I met my husband, I was still like that woman who wanted to do everything. And I was like, nah, you ain't about to, I'm not about to submit. What you mean submit? But I think it's that word too that makes it seem like submit, like I'm supposed to bow down to you. But in reality, it's really not that. So if you do have the man who is stepping up, but he's still treating you as an equal counterpart, then that's when it's easier to submit or, you know, allow him to make the decisions, I guess. Yeah.
What do you think, Danny?
I don't really know. I mean, I was raised in a two-parent home. However, my attitude still was, I'm not about to submit to no nigga. You feel me? Like, it kind of still like that. Like, it's probably why I'm single. But it's, my parents, they've been married 48 years, and I still don't imagine myself being able to submit to a man. Like, my family was very religious, and it was like, hey, you know, the man is the head of the household. Whatever he say, go. You got to respect him. The woman submit to him. And for so long, I feel like my mother had a voice, but she couldn't really speak it because she had to submit to my father. No matter if she was the breadwinner or whatever the case may be, like, it was still, you got to submit. Do I have respect for that? I got more respect for my mother and all that she endured. As a woman, like, you coming home taking care of two kids, working long hours, making more money, and you still got to come home, cook, clean, take care of the house, stay up until midnight helping me with school projects, like, but no matter what, at the end of the day, we still got to listen to what this nigga say. I love my father, but, you know, don't disrespect, but it puts it in a different light for me. So would I submit? Again, maybe if it was a God-fearing person that I had respect for, but you have to demand that respect in order for me to submit to you.
What Danny really just said just really had me thinking, like, when we think of submission, are we also attaching gender roles to it? Because, like, my husband and I have been together for a little over a year, but like I said before, we've been dating for like 12 years. And I find that I do submit to him and I do allow him to be the head of our household. But I also feel like it's equal. Like, even though I'm allowing him to make decisions, he's going to come check in with me like, babe, what do you think about this? Yeah. So it's like I still have a voice, and ultimately I'm still making the decision. Yeah. It's almost remind me like being at work, like you're the boss. You're telling your workers may come to you and tell you something, but you're going to be the one to present that idea, even though... So it's kind of like he's the face.
I just feel like submission in 2019 is different than it was back in the day. Like, it's not, oh, you stay at home, take care of the kids, feed the kids, clean the house. When I come home, my dinner better be ready. I give you an allowance. This is what you spend. It's not really like that. Submission is more like what you were saying, Kiviana, where you like, he checks in with me. He sees how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like he takes our feedback. But at the end of the day, whatever he decides is like the way we're going to go. But we have to be okay with that as wives and as girlfriends, to be like, even if they're going the wrong way, you just got to still be like, oh, okay.
I think that's when my stubbornness comes in. And, like, my independence, like, I'm so strong-hold, like, gung-ho about being independent. In a relationship, in my marriage, I was like, no, if you F up, like, I'm going to still have to do what I have to do. And I think that, like, that was supposed to be my example of how to back away and let my man take control and be the man of the house, and he didn't show me that he could do that. So therefore I stepped forward and I'm like, okay, well, you can't be the man of the house. You can't show me these things. I can't submit to someone who's not showing me these things.
Exactly.
So I'm continually like being an independent woman, still being like, I'm not submitting to a man. And it may be a flaw because just like you said, Danielle, like maybe that's why I'm still single, but I can't like fall back and let a man do something because I always have that piece in the back of my head. Like, are you going to follow through? Are you going to do what you're supposed to do? Are you going to like help pay this bill that you said you're going to pay? But I got to make sure I have the money in my account just in case.
Without you reminding them.
Yeah,
but I wonder how much of that is us being the neck. Like, when I think about us submitting and our husbands being the head of the household, yeah, they're going to do it. But as their wife or as in a relationship, you're supposed to have their back in case they don't. So it's like, okay, babe, I said go and get these groceries. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, if he forgets something, I got a plan B.
Right.
You know, so I feel like you're just always having that plan B ready.
As telling him, but you sending him to listen to text too.
I'm
so
like, hey, babe, remember this.
You know what I'm saying?
But again, that's still going back to what Shell said in terms of will you be able to follow through or not? Because you're having to send so many reminders. If you know that they're going to follow through, you wouldn't have to do that in the first place.
It's all about knowing your counterpart and your spouse too. Like,
that is true.
If you know that he's forgetful and like that's like being a helper. I know that he's going. I know he can't go to the grocery store, but I know he's going to forget one thing at the store.
Let me help him things at the store.
Yeah, and let me help him by sending it in writing through a text message so that he can do it. Not like knowing like, oh, I know he's not going to do. Not in my head, I know he's not going to do it. It's just like, let me help him.
Let me set you up for success.
That goes back to exactly. That goes back to the trusting thing too. But to what Michelle was saying, like, if you not showing me that you can lead and you not showing me, then I'm not going to put my trust in you because I'm going to feel like if you not going to do it, somebody got to do it. And that goes back, I think, to what Fantasia was saying, that generational thing, because the men in our society have not been stepping up and being the lead. So it leads women to feel like, I have to do this, I have to do that. And it makes it a struggle when you meet that strong man who is willing to come and do everything. But you like, nah, because I don't know if you really going to do it because of what I've seen done or what have been done to me.
And I feel like I had like a blessing and a curse growing up. Like I had a brother who like reminded me constantly, like, don't ask a dude for nothing. If you can't get it from me or you can't get it yourself, then you're not going to get it. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm like consistently hearing that. And then in the same sense, like my mother's like, you can't get it, you're not going to get it. Like you got to do it for yourself. Be that independent person, like continuously do that. And like it just stuck in my head. And like my brother's like, well, if you ask a dude for something to change a wheel in your car and they don't do it, don't keep asking them. Ask them one time, let them follow through. They don't do it, you know how to do it your damn self. So like that's what I hear. And I think, again, going into my marriage, I went in like that. I asked you to do something. The kitchen needs to be clean. You just did it. You just cooked and you didn't clean. Like, okay, you cook, I clean, you wash the clothes, I fold them. Like, we got to be equal together. We got to be partners in this situation. If we're not, then I'm doing everything, and then everything is weighing down on me. why do I
start
need
to resent you?
Why do
I
I
don't wanna
need
be
you
with you?
here?
Exactly.
So it's like I can do all this shit on my own. What are you here for? What are you doing for me? I'm paying my rent. I'm paying my car note. I'm changing my tire on my car. What's the purpose of it? What is the purpose of that?
But this goes back to gender roles, because let's say, hypothetically speaking, you're in a relationship where it's two women. Would you still have those same expectations? Would you say that if you're not following through on changing my tire or following through on doing this oil change, would it be accepted then, or would you just step up and do it?
It depends on the role in which the woman plays.
So it's a gender thing.
It is like, because even in a lesbian relationship, you have an aggressor, you have a femme. A femme is the more ladylike. The aggressor is the more one supposed to step up, do whatever. However, at the end of the day, we're still all women.
Right.
So really, is it up to them to hold the door, pay for your check, change your tire? But this is the role in which you're perceiving to emulate, then I feel like you do need to follow through on those things. And if, again, you can't, then that goes back to you being like an independent woman. You know, so your independence end up taking over. If you ain't playing that part, then you do what you got to do.
I also think like money plays a huge part in all of this. Like being submissive, I think money, as they say, money is the root of all evil. Like I feel like if a person isn't paying the certain bills in your household and you're paying majority of the bills, do you feel like you would be less submissive if you make more?
I think for me, it's about like, what else are you doing? Like, it's all about being equitable. If I'm paying the majority of the bills, but you're coming in and you're making sure other things are done, then no, I'm fine. But if I'm paying all the bills and I'm still doing all the housekeeping, watching all the kids and doing all of these things, and I'm feeling like you're not doing anything, then I'm just thinking like, what is your purpose? Because now I'm fulfilling every role.
And in that standpoint, it would be hard for you to be submissive because that person isn't doing, like holding up to that standpoint.
But in that standpoint, like, what are you being submissive to, though? You know what I mean? Like, if he's not really, like, what decisions is he making? You get what I'm saying? Because if
you doing
as
everything.
a female, and if I'm doing everything, I'm not checking in with you to see like, oh, do this need to be paid? Do I need to do this? It's like, so how is he leading me if I'm already doing everything? You know what I mean? So it's nothing really to be submissive to.
I think also we need to think about like, just that term, being submissive, what does that mean? Like, what makes you a candidate to be submissive to, aside from you being a follower of God?
Yeah.
You know, like, what is it? And I think everyone's perception of what they will submit to varies.
I think bottom line, if you're submitting to someone, you have to have some type of respect for that person. You're not just going to submit to somebody because that's what you're supposed to do. It has to be some type of respect that they've gained from you in order for you to be like, okay, I can submit. Bottom line, because if you didn't, you wouldn't. You'll run over that nigga like, hey, let's keep it moving. I'm going to do what I got to do.
I don't know, Danny, because I'm about to bring something up and it may ruffle some feathers. I think about like the R. Kelly thing. You know what I mean? Like, all them women were submitting to him.
He got them when they were young.
Yeah.
But
and impressionable.
So that means that it goes back to the whole thing. Like, you being submissive and what you submit to is really independent upon what you choose. Because these women in their mind thought he was the best
women,
thing.
Though. They were girls.
They were.
But then the money played a part too, though.
And then the money, and that's what they're thinking.
So many women too are submitting to a man for women for money.
Yeah.
So what is the right thing to submit to a man for?
Love, man.
I love you,
Love
and I'm submitting to
I'm
you.
submitting to you because I love you.
But you're not fulfilling any of those needs that we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Like, you're not meeting me halfway.
Sometimes love ain't enough.
And I think it's all about beliefs too, because some people don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really, submission comes from like the Christian faith. So if you are not really like a Christian, then you don't feel like you should submit.
So if it was a girl on girl, does that whole God and relationship and Christian
goes
still
out the
come into
window.
play?
I think so.
Does it or does it not? Like, because I was in a relationship with a girl. We went to church together, and it was like, but after a while, I was raised in the church, so I felt like it weighed more on me. I stopped going, but it's still instilled in me. Do I still believe in the God? Yes. But I know the lifestyle in which I'm living is not by him. So then that's where it comes into conflict. But however, we could still do that together. That is one of the things that we did. Like, hey, let's go to church. If we didn't make it to the first service, let's make it to at least the noon service, you know. That is something that we did. But would I still submit? I'm very strong-headed, opinionated. I want my house to be how I want my house to be, in order, the way in which it is. If I'm going to have to ask you more than once, then forget it. I'm going to do it. But then that's what becomes expected. You know I'm going to do it if I got to keep asking you and you don't do it eventually.
Exactly. Learn
so
behavior.
then why am I respecting and still trying to submit to something that's not worthy of me submitting to?
This makes me think about what Tree said, that in 2019, that term plays out differently.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because I feel like in my household, I still can make rules and call the shots. I'm like, nah, babe, we not doing that. But at the same time, when it's time for my man, I'm like, nah, sit down. I got
you
this.
know when it's-
I'm like, okay,
But I
let
think
me
it
sit
also-
down. You got this.
That goes into respect. You respect him. He respects you. You guys
Right.
have that. You know what I'm saying? Some relationships don't have that. And they can have love. You can love that person to death, but have not 1 inch of respect for them, maybe because of the things that they're not doing. They're not paying the bills, or they're not taking care of the kids, or they're not helping you at that halfway point. So it's like, I'm not going to respect you. You tell me to sit down. I'm like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Like, I'm not about to sit down. I'm not about to do what you asked me to do because you don't respect me. But how could, like, again, in this day and age, I don't think many relationships have that respect piece.
I mean, it's so easy to get out of a relationship nowadays. As soon as you can marry somebody, you can divorce them.
Yeah.
It's not that
no fights.
48-year marriage or 40, 30-year marriage. And even after 25 years, I've heard of people getting a divorce. So when is it like that, oh, I'm really in it to win it. I'm really in it for her. I'm really in it for him. I'm really in it for whoever the case may be. But I feel like it's so easy to say, hey, I'm in love, and then all of a sudden shit start going south, everybody out of it. So then what do? It's just easy to go ahead and, well, let's get a divorce. I don't need you. I don't need that. Whatever. We'll fight over it in court. Like, but nobody really want to go through that. But that's what everybody is willing to go through nowadays because it's so easy at our
Much easier to get out
disposal.
of it.
I think about, like, back in the day, like, I'm so much younger.
So much older.
But
You mean older?
older, yeah. Yeah, they were really submitting to their husbands. Like, women, did, like you said, your mom wasn't saying anything and she had a voice. And I was talking to someone about, like, even being abused in your relationship. You didn't say anything. And in some places, it was legal. Like, no, I'm going to hit you, but below your face, and you're not going to say anything about it. But since the shift in times, like, now we have a voice, we're not accepting things. And I think that's where we're no longer, it comes into the play, like, we're not fighting for our marriage. We're just not accepting things. And I'm not saying our ancestors and our parents were wrong for accepting those things, but I feel like it's a new day and age, and we're like, no, I'm not going to stay with you and you're hitting me. That's not love.
Right.
I'm not going to do it because I'm supposed to, because you're the man, we were in the church, you're following Christ, so I'm supposed to let you discipline me when I'm not doing what you want me to do, or when I'm not saying the things that you want me to say, because now you're controlling me and you're not.
The value of a woman's voice has become greater.
Yes.
As back in the day, you know, they valued us as just the homemakers. Take care of my kids, and that's it. But now, nah, we're not going for that.
To a certain
We ain't
degree,
going
I
for that.
feel like we're not going for that, but in our minds, that's what we say. But we do find ourselves submitting to people that we do care about.
Yeah.
So that comes into play as well. Like, okay, well, I will, let me cook you something right quick. Oh, okay, I'll go wash it. Like, oh, okay. You know, that goes back to, yeah, my mother, she did have a voice, but to what degree? Maybe some things she wanted to argue more about, but she just decided to give in, you know? And it was even to this point, now that I'm older, kids are out the house, now I wish I could really say, but what's the point in fighting about something that's not a win-lose situation?
Yeah.
So I wonder also now, is it that men are also submitting to women too?
I think so.
So, like, whereas back then it's like, no, you just submit to the man. It's not a, like, mutual thing.
Yeah.
So do you think that, again, going back to the money piece, do you think if a woman makes more money than the man, that she should be, or he should be able to submit to her? Or you think because he respects and values her and her opinion, that he should be able to submit to her?
I think it goes both ways.
I do.
I think it really is, it should be a balance. Like, it should be equal counterparts. in a relationship. It's like, if I was with Kiviana, I can come to you and say, Kiviana, what you feel about this? You speak your opinion. She should be able to come to me and say the same thing. And it should, both of our opinions should be valued and taken into consideration. The money thing, I get it. Money goes to people's head, and it's like, I'm the one paying the bills. I'm the one you living. I'm the one you driving a nice car. If I say no, then that's what I mean, or I'm going to take that car away. Money is usually used as a controlling piece, and controlling is different than submission to me.
So my mother made more than my father. And in most black couples, the woman does make more than the man. And that's statistically proven. But however, she still respected him in terms of he was the head of the household, but he also demanded that respect. He was the head of the household. Like, you have to do. Like, the kids ate last. He ate first. You know, it was kind of like... make his plate.
Wait, you all like,
bend it out.
Wait,
make his plate. Okay.
But that's,
you know, and that was the thing back then.
And that's submission.
Still,
like, it's different in every family is different.
But that's that generation as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like this generation fight hard to go against what they had back then, where the woman just got to sit down and be like,
feel like we worked it. We deserve it. Yeah. Like, we deserve to eat when you eat. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know, like, in my house, there's times when I come home and my husband makes dinner and he has my plate, he has the kids' plate, and he sit down last with his plate. And even oftentimes he'll be like, nah, babe, go ahead, make sure the kids eat and you eat first. Yeah. And I feel like that's a man, especially depending on how much of it there is. Like, I'm not going to eat first and knowing this may not be enough for you and the kids. As the man in the head of my household, you guys eat first and I eat what's left. And like thinking back in the day, then if you saying feed me first, it's like fuck you and my kids. Like, I'm gonna eat, and y'all figure it out, or y'all get my scraps. So as the man of the household, you protect your family, you protect what's yours. I'm gonna make sure you guys strong, and I figure it out.
Right.
Because I was gonna ask too, like, when she said he's the head of the household, does that mean he like rule everything, like every decision he making it independently by himself, like he not considering nobody else?
No, it was always discussed, but behind closed doors, not in front of the kids, not in front of us. So they would discuss it, come to some kind of, I don't know who, but I always imagine my daddy still pull rain, you feel me? So, but my mom did have a say-so to kind of lighten up maybe the initial response. And, you know, me, I was kind of fiery, so my daddy had his hands full, you feel me? Because I just won't sitting down and standing for no. It was disrespectful to ask my parents, why you say no? So why I can't do this? So, you know, that was, but however, I still did. So why can't I? I did this, and the third. How come I can't go to X, Y, and Z? With, you know who I'm going with, you know where I'm going to be, so why can't I go? But at the bottom line, my father did have the bottom say so. It wasn't, if I asked my mom first, go ask your daddy. You know, it was always kind of like that. But then, too, it was like, you say, like, he ate first, he did, but he was also supplying all the groceries and knew that the cabinets was full for everybody to have enough. So in that aspect, okay, he can eat first, but he knew that it was enough for them. And even when I go back home for the holidays, I hope, like, my parents, they go with their little church members, their families. All the women are making sure the men are taken care of first. And that was just that era. So I found myself helping out.
How old are your parents, if you don't mind me asking?
My father just turned 70 in August. Yeah. And my mother turned I stand corrected. My daddy is 71 in August, and my mom is 70 in September.
But I honestly feel like us seeing that probably made us change our thinking, like, what?
But
like,
I didn't see that.
I didn't see it either, but it's like...
I didn't see it. My mother ate.
I don't know.
My parents are young.
See,
like,
my mother's
it
like
was
50.
after she cooked, okay, go take your daddy his plate. And then you come back, you got yours already prepared.
I don't know.
You got your sister's. And then she have hers last.
My mom would often, like, if she made plates, would make everybody plates, set it on the table, like, y'all come
the
eat.
Kids always ate first in my family.
We would just make, and even when I make plates, sometimes, like, I'll just put all the plates out on the table and everyone come eat. We sit down and we eat together as a family.
It all depends on your family dynamic too.
Yeah.
I feel like all of that plays a role in.
And then I'm from down south. Things are different down there. So like I said, even when I go home for the holidays, all of the women are making sure the men, and I step right into that role. Let me help you out. Do you need anything else? Do you want some more? Do you need a glass of tea? Do you need some lemonade? Like, you know, you make your plate, then you make sure the kids are fed. Then you're always, as the woman, last. You make sure everyone else as a woman is taken care of, and there you go. And so people don't understand my nature when I'm always taking care of people. But then that does play a role. Am I submitting to everyone else? No, but I do have that caring spirit because I am trying to, that's installed in me. Make sure everyone else is taken care of first, you know? And even when I jump back home, that's how it goes. It's like, jump into your role, do what you need to do.
So bringing us back kind of to Michelle's original question, like, being independent does that cause conflict in our relationship? And I know we talked about how we were raised and how it panned out from what we saw and the impact that plays on our own relationships. But if we were these strong, independent women, what type of conflict would that bring to our relationship? Like, are we saying that if we're independent, we cannot be submissive?
I think it's just a learn. I can speak from my personal experience. Like, I was hella independent, like to the point my husband was like, "What do you need me for? Like, I'm just here." So, but in his mind, it was kind of like a slap in his face because he's like, "I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to be there for you. I'm trying to, you know, show you that you don't have to do this. You ain't gotta take the trash out. You ain't gotta go get your oil change. You ain't gotta put gas in your car." But I was just doing it. So it's a learned behavior, and it has to be, the man really does have to step up and prove to you like he can do it. And you have to have that respect. I do agree that it comes with respect and that trust too, because I have to trust that you're going to put gas on my car. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, and if he does forget, I have to be okay that, oh, maybe he forgot. And I have to be okay with saying like, okay, I'm going to do it this one time. Or even calling him to check to see like, oh, did you forget? He might say, oh, turn around. Let me go put the gas in there right now. But it's all a learned behavior. I had to learn. It took me years. I'm still learning. Still learning. Keep y'all to know. Because I'm one of the ones, too. I talk back. No, you're not about to tell me. Nah, because I'm like, I talk back. And even with the whole paying the bills thing, like, I'm the one who usually pays the bill. The money is all there. But it's like, I'm the one.
And just to clarify, the money is coming from both you and Ron. But you're the one calling to execute the bill pay.
Exactly, because that's just my role. I'm better at those things. So it's just something you learn as an independent, growing up as an independent.
Is it that you're better, or is that a woman thing? Because my mother also did that too.
Now, so going back to gender roles,
William has tried to play bills, and he has done it.
I think as a woman,
he also don't have the patience. Like, I don't mind sitting there waiting. But after 30 minutes of being on hold, he's like, fuck this shit, man. Look, fuck this. How else can we do it, man? Like, what else can we do online? Something?
I think we're more detail-oriented as women. So we like, let's just do it. Let's make sure it's done right, and let's do it. That's just how we are as women in general. Yeah. So we're better at those things.
So is he capable? Yes. But sometimes it's also like, I want to say not a control thing, but my own personal control thing. Like, oh no, I need to do this.
Reassurance. Don't say control. It's a reassurance that this bill got paid on time.
And it's not to say that he doesn't, because he hasn't let me down. Like, if I say I need you to pay this or do this, he will.
Yeah.
But I just know where his patience and where his strength lies.
Exactly.
Like, I will drive my car on E and like, shit, I hope I make it home.
And I know he's going to put gas in it when I get there.
He's going to get up, even if it's like 12 at midnight, whenever time I get home, I'm gonna he's going to make sure before he goes to sleep and when I wake up, there's gas in my car.
Oh, me too.
So I think just going back to what you guys said, like thinking about this generation and could people be submissive in this generation, I feel like now in this year and age, I feel like people build relationships not on trust, not on communication. They build it off of connections. Oh, do we connect well? Oh, can we have a conversation?
The energy.
You feel me? Our energy and connection work so well.
Your zodiac
sign. Your energy.
Yeah, what's your sign?
Oh, we don't mix.
Well. So then it's like, all right, y'all go off of that. And I think sometimes women, they hear that and they like, oh, we connect.
It's
like connect is a big word to them. Connection don't mean shit if you can't communicate and respect me as a person. How can I submit to you just off of a connection? So it's like, all right, having that communication piece is huge. What I hear both of you guys saying is like, all right, I can talk to my husband and tell him, hey, I don't like this. He can come to you and tell you. And I never heard you once be like, oh, no, I'm not about to do that. Or if you call him and say, hey, I need gas in my car, you're not like, hey, why didn't you put gas in my car? Da, 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 da. You're like, you're communicating with him.
With
you're able to
best
do that.
Intentions.
Exactly. Like, you're like, oh, okay, well, babe, I know that you were rushing. You had to get to XYZ quicker, so you forgot. But nowadays, I feel like that when you base a relationship off of a connection, then you don't have that communication. So it's like, it's so hard for women to be submissive because it's just like you got that argument piece, like someone nagging you all the time. And I'm like, it doesn't happen anymore.
Where you connecting it though? You
Why
connecting
women
like
can't be submissive in this
No, I'm
day
saying
and
like
age.
what type of connection are you having with the person? Like
Oh, I'm sorry.
a
I thought you
physical
meant-
like I know you try to get smart with me.
I'm like, listen. But no.
Is it like a physical connection, like emotional? Like what is the connection piece coming from?
Well, when they say they have a connection, they mean like the physical connection, the emotional connection. They feel like when you have a conversation, you guys can be like bouncing
really
off and feeding off each other. When
great
you have a
conversation.
Exactly. But then when it comes, we're going to be in a relationship, and then something happens, you can't communicate with me. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how we went back to the friends with benefits situation.
Yeah.
Like you calling that friend that you can have a conversation with, but you can't have a conversation with this person you're in a relationship.
Right. Yeah.
So the second part of the question is the relationship. First of all, there's a difference between being in a relationship and being married. In my personal opinion, you should not be submitting to someone in your relationship. That is not your husband. But then,
Does it matter how long you're together?
what is it? You can be with
can
someone
be,
and be
common law
married.
married.
Common
Yeah, I don't
law
know how long
married.
it is.
So depending on how long. So then it makes me wonder, like, am I okay to be independent in a relationship, but not in a marriage? You know what I mean? Because I'm still getting to know you. So I'm not going to rely solely on you until we have that longevity together, until you show me that we're in a position where we may be ready to take steps to that next level where we're like going to solidify it and we may become husband and wife. Then I can start like
Right, and I can speak from
kind
personal,
of giving it to you a little bit
I
to
can speak
become more
from
submissive.
personal experience with that situation too. So I was in a relationship. He was paying all my bills, like taking care of me.
I ain't saying shit, gold digger.
Like he was paying my car note, but then when the relationship ended, guess what happened? Them
Shit
bills
out of
wasn't
luck.
getting
Girl.
paid. That car got
came
repossessed.
smacking you in your
I didn't have
face.
nothing to do, but I was depending on him and leaning on him as if he was my husband. So it's like in a relationship, you can't really relinquish all of your
So you were
independence.
opposite. You didn't go in independent. You went independent on this man. But then you
I
grew
think it
up
grew
to become a
yeah.
wife who was
And then-
independent in the marriage.
No, it's okay. Let me explain. It kind of grew into dependence because, like you said, as the man shows you that he can lead, you just like, oh, take the wheel because you can do this.
Right.
So I came into the relationship as independent, but once he showed me like, oh, I'm gonna do this for you and do this, and it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to do nothing. He's handling all the bills, so I depended on him in that aspect. And I began to like kind of submit to him. Like I would go to him for everything and what you think about this, as if we were married. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it was just my boyfriend.
Right.
But then when the relationship was over and that was gone, and that's not my husband. I'm not about to get a divorce settlement. Like he don't have no ties to me anymore. So when I walked outside in the parking lot and my car was gone, and I called the police, they like, sweetie, that's repossessed. I'm like, what? But in reality, that's my boyfriend. He didn't have no
He didn't
reason.
have to, yeah.
So then, yeah, exactly. So I agree. In a relationship, you still have to hold on to a little bit of your independence.
So I want to ask a question to everybody. Now, you're in a relationship maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe 4 years. I don't know. You guys move in together, right? Now, this is your man. Now, do you think a man thinks, hey, if this woman is not submitting to me now, why would she submit to me when I'm married? We've been together for 4 years. We live together. She's not being submissive. So why would I propose to her or even think about going into a marriage with her if she's not being submissive?
I think it depends on the clear-cut communication piece of it, because William and I were together for 12 years, and I didn't find myself submitting to him. We moved together when we were engaged, but I knew then that I would be his wife. And prior to, I was faithful to him, but no. You got what you're doing over there, and I'm doing what I'm doing over here. You can't run what's happening over here. And I made that clear. Like, these are things that you get as a husband. These are things that you get as a husband.
Yeah.
These are things that you get as a wife. And that's it. Because if I give you everything as my boyfriend, why are you marrying
What
me?
they say,
What are
why,
you looking for?
Why buy the cow or something? What is it?
Why buy the milk when you got the cow?
You got the whole cow.
Even in those 12 years that we were together, it was a lot that we didn't even explore sexually. Like, it was a lot. And I was like, no, you're just my boyfriend. So when we get together, we can run this marriage right, because we have so much more to explore. I didn't give you everything I had when you were just my
For 12
boyfriend.
years. Will.
Well,
There's a difference between a man who's going to be your husband and a boyfriend that's in a long-term relationship that goes nowhere. You know,
and I think like to that standpoint, and I want to hear y'all perspective too, but I think to that standpoint, like women stay in relationships and they give their all, you know, and they become submissive, and then it's like, why am I marrying you? I got everything right here.
Exactly.
You been submissive to me. You doing it, and then the woman's like, well, I don't understand why he won't marry me. I don't understand.
That's why.
What's the purpose? You're giving this man literally everything.
As if you were, but you're not.
So what's the purpose of y'all getting married? So it's like you wasting your time for what?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your standpoint, Patrice?
I just feel like I've always been that person to push back on anything. Like between whether it be a man, whether it be my mom, I've just always been that person to push back. So I can't relate to like, well, besides the story I just told. But I really feel like, and I guess I can speak from one of my family members who's doing that currently, who's doing everything a wife should do, like to the point where they like bought a house together, they have cars and everything together. She's raising his child and she's not married, and it's like, are y'all ever gonna get married? And she's actually like, oh, if we get married, it'll happen when it happens, or
because she's already.
But
playing
it's
white.
like, right, you're doing the same thing, and it's like, to me, I'm like, you settling, like
and
you doing all this like, extra stuff. You doing this extra stuff, rearranging your life, like making sure this is then making sure your schedule aligned to pick up the child from school. Like you are not even his mother, like.
And he can walk away, and you be without anything.
And then you're not gonna have nothing. Like, you're not going to have anything. Marriage. And so it's like, I feel like you can't, like I said, you like have to hold on to your independent. It is. Yeah. Honestly.
It's an insurance
marriage
policy.
Marriage and an insurance policy. Away, guess what? You're going to be paying me something.
I'm getting something out of this. I'm not walking away.
You're going to get that. Well, look, if you make enough money, I need some alimony.
Girl.
I need some child support.
Give it to me.
Something. It is, and it helps. Being married, that piece of paper makes a difference. Some people see it as just, a marriage certificate is just a piece of paper. And that's an argument I hear a lot, where it's like, it's just a piece of paper, but it makes a difference. When you go to court, that piece of paper will make or break what's going to happen in your future. Yeah. Especially if you've been dependent on this person for so long. Yeah.
So, Danny, question. You said that, going back a little bit, you said that being submissive, like caring for someone. So if you're in a relationship for like 4 or 5 years or 10 years, and like you're being submissive to that person, but you guys are not married, and like you're making their plates and you're doing all these things to them, do you think that like relationship would ever go to a marriage if you're giving them everything that you would in a marriage? Do you think
speaking out of personal opinion and experience, no, because you are giving them your all. And then too, you got to know what you're getting yourself into. And if you're young, do you always know what you're getting yourself into? And so that's the question that's at hand. So like, I did give this person out of a long-term relationship my all. And at the end of the day, it was just something that became expected, something that was taken for granted. So when do it become, hey, like, love is enough? Yeah, I know you love me, but you're not putting in forth the half of the work that I need
like
you to do.
Like that 80-20.
Like, you know, so I'm going over and beyond to make sure this house is taken care of. That's why this is my house. That's why I can say what I want, how I want it, and you better not ask me nothing about it. Like, you know, like, that's how it is. But however, I can be submissive because out of love, out of respect, this is what I'm doing because I care for you. But is it going to be something that I'm expecting a marriage out of? I can't say that.
I don't know. Like, I think going to my relationships now, or like even dating, I'm just like looking at the person and looking at their life and looking like what they want from me. Like, what do you want? But also, what do you have to offer? So like, every time you go into something, you're thinking about, okay, can I be with this person? But you always want to base it off of friendship.
Right.
Like, leave the sex at the door. Don't even like bring sex into the situation because it just confuses everything, right? So can you trust this person? Can you communicate with this person? Can you just give your all with this person? And not meaning your all like being submissive, but just like, you know what I'm saying, just chill with this person.
Everything, like who you are,
and
like your vulnerable moments.
And not be afraid. Like, oh, he gonna throw this back in my face.
Exactly.
Let them see you without your face
Come on.
Like, hold on. So let them see you with your headscarf on right quick.
So
that's
like
being
going
vulnerable.
into it, like, all right, you thinking about those little things, and you give them like little pieces. Like, all right, I'm gonna give you this piece of relationship to see like what you do with it. I'm gonna ask you for your help on whatever, and then see if you
She testing us.
see if you
Did you pass the test?
And it's like, okay, then you move into that
Sure.
relationship step. All right, you in a relationship. You're not giving your all because you don't want to have nothing to give them when you're married.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. I think we go into relationships thinking like, can I actually be submissive to this person? Could I trust this person?
Yeah.
Could I let my independence like fall at the wayside with this person? And if you can't, I don't think that you should really move forward. But who am I to say? I'm not a relationship counselor. Shit, like I don't know. But it's
But
just
that's your
like my
personal
standpoint.
opinion.
You know what I'm saying? My
Yeah.
standpoint. If I feel like I can't give my all to you, if I feel like when I'm down, you're not building me up, but you're
Yeah.
steadily like telling me all the negative shit that you're
Weighing
going
you
through.
down.
Like,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
thanks, I'm good. Like,
You weighing me down with your stuff
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
lifting me up when I need it.
so it's like, how can I be submissive to you? How can I give you my all?
That's them not meeting your needs.
That's just
Exactly.
being your partner, being in tune and in touch with you. Like,
Yep.
if you know your partner inside and out and they don't know you, then you're giving your everything
And they
because and then you're getting nothing. Like, you know, you're investing everything into this person because you already know what their next move is about to be.
Yeah.
It's like a chessboard. But you already know because you know them so well. However, you anticipate them. And is that our downfall? For you to anticipate them to know you just as well
I think
as
so.
as you know them. Like, you know, that was a problem as well. Like, I already know what you're about to say. I already know what you're about to do. But you don't know how I'm feeling, and I try and even break it down for you to understand, but you still don't get it.
Or you aren't receptive to it.
Yeah, she just spoke on that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Go ahead. What you want to say, Kiriana? Your mouth
Can't
moving.
relate. I'm sorry.
No,
I can't
it's
relate.
true.
I'm just like,
I can relate to that because it's like I said earlier. I feel like as women, we're more detail oriented. We observe it, we watch, we see,
Yeah.
we and we can recognize. Our brain just works differently in that way. So it's like from the opposite, or from coming from your spouse, you expect that because it's like I'm learning you. The time that that's taking me to learn you, you should be learning me.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like when that's not reciprocated, you're like, what the. I'm giving you all of this, but you can't give me a
nothing.
simple,
Nothing.
Right,
hey boo, how you
nothing.
doing today? Like, and you see that my face is tore up. You see that my mood is off, and you not checking on me.
But
So
you're
then
not
it's
in tune.
like, right, and then we cussing them out, like, why you ain't da 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 da, and they
Exactly.
looking at me, oh, this
Exactly.
joint crazy. But it's like in
Exactly.
reality,
Facts.
you should know because if you frowning, I'm gonna say, oh boo, what's wrong?
Yeah.
baby?
Right,
Like you should do that
Facts.
to me.
I wonder if that's our caring nature to do so. And I'm always going to play devil's advocate to push
Clearly.
back against it.
Clearly.
Yes.
And I wonder, like, okay, if we notice that they're not doing these things, are we saying something or are we accepting it? Because oftentimes we're like, they don't even care. They're not recognizing it. But are we addressing it and bring it to their attention?
So what if you do address it
I was
and
gonna
they
say the same
still
thing,
bring
and
it to their attention and they
or
still act
we
the
address it
same?
when we
Flip it
angry.
and say that you're
tripping.
nagging. You
Yeah.
nagging. You complaining.
You
Why you
tripping.
doing that?
Because like Tree said, we do it when we're angry.
Yeah, we do
we're
it
doing
angry.
it when we're not in a
So you're
space
not
when we're
having that
really
But when
just
do you,
like,
when
hey.
do you do it like, hey, let me tell you something. My,
When y'all
my
out to
heart is
dinner in a
heavy
public
right
place.
now. Exactly. Like trapped
So
in
you
a
can't
car
go
where you
up.
can't
So
go
you can't
out.
go off.
I push back at that. You
I
tell
think-
them, right? You
yeah.
sit down, you're calm,
You
you have the
tell them,
communication
yeah.
with them. But if they still don't get it? What if they're still not getting it and they're still like, oh, well, this is the reason why I did this, or this is the reason why.
They say they get it, but they really don't because
Then you get
they
frustrated.
don't act on it. The actions really do speak louder than words to me. Like,
But I feel like that's
I-
when, again, that submissive people come in because eventually we're going to concede and say, okay.
yeah.
we just wanna
basically.
move on.
Or not even be submissive. You just get fed up.
Yeah, and it's like, okay.
So when is it submissive or you just fed up?
Now
like,
I know
hey,
who
okay,
you are.
whatever.
Yeah.
Here, we just go with it.
I
Just fuck
think
it.
I truly think that's like something for us to really, really, really dive into. Like, we as women, are we accepting for men to not accept or comment on how we're feeling? Are we lowering the expectations for them, but say we expect them to do these things, but we're not setting them up for success to do it? Because if I don't know how to respond to your emotional needs, instead of you getting upset with me, are you teaching me? Are you telling me what those things that you need are? Like, what do you need from me to make you feel like I'm respecting you or I'm addressing your needs, you know? And that may be something we can talk about at our next podcast. Like, how do we as women make sure that women are respecting us, women or men, our partners are respecting us and hearing us and knowing what our emotional needs are? So, Instagram viewers, think about that question. listeners, think about that question. How can we as women ensure that our partners hear us, see us, respect our voices?
And we want to hear the men's opinion too.
Man, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
And the gay couples, lesbians, shout out. But we thank you for listening, followers. We appreciate you. And please follow us at L.O.V.Empowerment at IG and YouTube. Thank you.
Everybody doing about?
Love empowerment.
I don't think we want her to
Love empowerment.
Hey. Love empowerment. Hey.